Hello, hello, hello! I am Ditto Archivist. Welcome to my show and tell series where I show off my finished builds in Pokopia, such as Lavender Tower, which was last week. You can go watch that on my YouTube channel. For today, however, we are going to talk about transportation. So, in the Rocky Ridges, they gave us the minecarts. And once there are mine tracks on it, oh, you can't even get on the cart without the tracks under it. Interesting. So, when you have tracks and the minecart, you can zip around much faster than walking. Though I think the Graveler rollout is technically faster. But the minecarts are fun because Pokemon will sometimes use them. The smaller Pokemon, at least. And so it can be fun to just be standing nearby and just watch them come zipping around. And I wanted to add the minecarts to my roads. There were just a few problems. One, my roads are 6 blocks wide for a reason. Specifically, Onyx, Steelix, I'm looking at you. Those Pokemon are 3 blocks wide. Like, even Venusaur here is only actually 2 blocks. You can see we have the stairs covered and then the inner block covered, and we got a little bit into this 3rd block, but you can still walk by them. If Onyx were there, no, you would have to go all the way over to this one. So, if we put minecarts down in these 2 center blocks, because, you know, fast stuff in the center of the road, then there would only be 2 blocks to the side, meaning Onyx and Steelix would not fit on the road with the minecarts. And I do not want to redo all of my roads. Especially since my Rainbow Road up to the north, there are 6 colors on my Rainbow Road. I would have to find more colors to expand it. I don't want to do that. Also, from a immersion practical standpoint, someone's gonna get run over. Let's avoid that. Final consideration is just that I don't really like the look of the minecarts. They're fun, but I don't like the look of them, especially on my nice pretty roads. So, what do? We go to the internet, and we hear about someone making a subway system, and we realize that is a brilliant idea. This was long before I decided to make my own videos, and so I didn't note down where I actually heard that, and I am very sorry for that. But, as with the funny story, the utility poles, we saw them way back before Pokopia even got released. And my immediate thought is, I don't like the look of those. Can I bury them? This was before we knew that the wireless transmitters were a thing. And so in my wastelands, I actually did go after the beach. I went and I proof of concept buried 3 utility poles from that windmill in the back to some vending machines up just in front of it. Just as proof of concept that yes, I can do this. Thankfully, I continued the story and found the wireless transmitters before I finished building an entire electricity buried grid under the wastelands. That would have been so irritating to do all that work to bury an entire electrical grid and then realize it was unnecessary. Bullet avoided, but in any case, this is my subway, the main entrance. We do have an elevator. Though I will note, if I were to build this again, I would move these stairs 1 more this way, because when I bring Pokemon up, they spawn half in this staircase, and then they won't move. They're stuck. I have to actually pick up the staircase. That was not the staircase. In order to unstick them. I also built stairs, because you're not supposed to use elevators in an emergency. So, stairs. Also, if I just don't want to mess with the elevator. Alright, so this is my main central hub for my subway. Fairly minimalist, but plenty of places to relax. Pretty crystal in the center, and we do have an information board. And then we have windows so that you can see the rest of the subway, but no one's accidentally falling on the tracks. So, the way my subway is organized, I have 2 tracks. We have the inner track, which is set up in a cross shape in all the cardinal directions. And then, if you go to the very end of one of those, there is another station. And so in a circle around the edge of my island is the outer circle of the subway. It follows the roads on the surface exactly. Digging all of this out was interesting. And then you should probably notice that they are all color-coded. I wanted to be able to look at where I was on the tracks and know where I was on my island without having to bring out the map, that was the wrong button, and go, where am I? So let's start with to the north. And what happens is I decided I wanted to recreate the Pokemon gyms from Let's Go. And I'm putting them around the outer edge of my island. And we're starting with Pewter to the north. And then Cerulean would be that way, at the northeast. I get east and west confused all the time. And then at the 3 o'clock east position is Vermilion Gym. At the southeast will be Celadon. At the south 6 o'clock position is Fuchsia. At the southwest will be Saffron. At the west at 9 o'clock is Cinnabar. And at the northwest will be Viridian. And so these cardinal legs are color-coded. We have gray for Pewter, orange for Vermilion, the rose magenta color for Fuchsia, and then red for Cinnabar. Nice. All right, let's actually go ride some tracks. So you come here, put down your minecart, you get on your minecart. Those are for stopping. Like if we go up to the Pewter station, natural stop, as long as you don't keep leaning on the joystick. And then we keep going. The inner cross is organized to be ridden counterclockwise. I believe that was a decision because of where I put the doors on this main hub. I wanted them to be at the corners, but then if you're stopping, if you're stopping from Cinnabar, you know what? No, it's how I happen to organize it. Because if I had put the doors just on the opposite side of the respective corners, it would have worked fine. But this is what I did. It also might have actually been a sort of time issue of if you are at Pewter, but you want to get to Cinnabar, you can take the outer ring, or you can take the inner cross. But if they're both going clockwise, you have to still go through all the other stations to get to Cinnabar. I think that's why I did it, so that you have your choice. You can go counterclockwise or clockwise. And that way, you're not stuck always having to take the long way to a place. Hi, Smirguru! And of course, the Pokemon do not care about my personal philosophy of which way to ride the tracks. So we have our elevator to go up. We also, because elevators are not to be used in an emergency, have a ladder. Why do we not have stairs? Partially because I didn't want to do that. A lot because I had already designed most of the rest of my island when I had my subway epiphany. Up and up and up and up and up. And so, notice, this area is very busy. We have some very small space for stairs. At the other end, where Roly Coly is, I don't think I even have this much space for stairs. And so, organizing the stairs underground to go up and then curl around on themselves and come back out here, did not want to do it. No, we want to close. Oh, you can't close it while you're, at least I'm having difficulty doing that. Oh well, it's an emergency exit anyway. Mostly you would use the elevator. Alright. So, up here is the blue for Cerulean. And then this way is green for Celadon. Choosing the color for Celadon and Viridian was interesting. I went back and forth because they are both, according to color definition on the internet, a kind of green. Celadon is supposed to be more a gray green, and Viridian is a blue green. We don't really have a gray green. And according to color swatches, that one cyan green could go either way. Eventually I decided to use the yellow-green for Celadon and the cyan-green for Viridian, but I went back and forth on that for a while. Here, while we're here, let's check out Saffron's mini station. So we do still have our elevator. We also still have our ladder, and just random space. Do I have that random space? Not sure. Maybe I was planning on putting a chair there, because I had sofas in the other mini stations. Back on. One thing about the subway, it took so much stone. The floor is simple flooring, which takes stone. The walls are the stone tiling, which takes stone. And the arches, oh my gosh, the arches. Because if you go to your recipes, and you go to your blocks, stone tiling, you put 2 stone in, you get 10 blocks out. It's a very nice ratio. A lot of the ratios in Pokopia are very nice. You get more out than you put in. If only the real world were like that. But if you go to the building tab and to the arch bridge, you put 2 stone in, you get 1 arch out. It is not a nice ratio. And so it took so long to get all of these arches. I am very pleased with the outcome. I do not regret it, but it took a minute. And then in the center is the light up blocks, and of course the neon blocks around the edge of the bottom. I also ran out of paint a few times. And we are back to pewter. Very happy. Note about the wireless transmitters at all the stations. In the main hub, I actually put lighting up on the ceiling, and I was going to out here, and then I put the light up blocks instead, and I just sort of decided, that I wasn't going to put actual lights up, but I had already installed the wireless transmitters in preparation. So they are just sort of sitting there, waiting to be useful. Now this is probably the most fun of the stations to actually go up and down, purely because of that. You get a little scenery. When my island manifested, there was a big lake with limestone at the bottom, but it was open to the air. Big lake. So, excellent place to farm limestone, to harvest, to mine it. Terminology. But if I wanted to get to the rest of it, I would have to drain it. I started drowning so much. Maybe with the new update, we'll try again. Or maybe not. I kind of like it. But I did know that when I started building my tiers and having the rest of my island flat, I did not want to fill this all in. Did not want to do it. So I just made a ceiling over it. And then when I was building the elevator for the computer station, I realized, oh dear, it's going to go right through there. So we did it, but instead of enclosing it completely, I did leave space for the window to just watch and see the cave. I just thought it was fun. I did make sure to leave an access panel. Makes finding it and then harvesting the limestone so much simpler. But in any case, that is my subway system. I have not made an enclosed or even fenced in station for the mini stations, partly because they're on both sides of the road. I suppose no. Because I built it with the track coming up to here. And if I wanted to put the ladder here, the track would have needed to go back a bit, and I didn't want to do that. Design choices. In any case, that was my subway. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you next time. Wrong button. There we go. Bye!